Welcome back to Deck Dojo, and today we're going to be going over the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, getting everybody ready for pre-release, the big event for every single set, and I'm thoroughly excited for this set. I mean, who doesn't love dinosaurs, vampires, and pirates and merfolk? I mean, it's like the zoo joke, but mythic, or mystical, whatever that word is. But it's going to be fun. So we're going to be looking at mechanics in the set, cards to look out for, examples, everything that you can need to build a deck for pre-release and win some matches. Let's get into it.
Archaeologists, be warned, we are coming for your jobs. When you discover, you flip cards into exile until you exile a card that has a converted mana cost of X or less. Once you do, you have the option to cast it for free or put it directly into your hand. When a card has Discover, it will have a number associated with it, or, in the rare cases, X. There's essentially one main strategy to follow, which is to play cards that allow you to flip other cards and continue the chain of flipping. The mechanic works best when you build your deck around Enter the Battlefield mechanics, and utilize vision effects like Scry or Explore that lets you set up for devastating flips and possibly chaining multiple Discover triggers together to have a significant impact on the board. We are descending into madness because this effect is a doozy. There are 3 different Descent-esque mechanics. Descended. When a permanent enters your graveyard, this can be from anywhere, the battlefield, your hand, or your library. Fathomless Descent counts the numbers of permanents in your yard, and that number fills in for X. Each card generally has a different effect. Descend X, kind of like a variable threshold, but also not. Instead of needing a flat 7 cards, you need X permanents, where X is dictated on the card. Everything needs to go into the bin. We can go a couple different directions for building. Pure Descent. Fill your deck with Descent cards. Since there are 3 different parts of this mechanic, you can get effects from milling yourself every turn. Permanents can get additional bonuses just for having permanents in your yard, or utilize the total number of permanents in your yard to turn the tide of the game. Get your crafting tables ready because your artifacts are getting an upgrade. Exiling varying permanents that range from a very specific to extremely general, your artifacts are going to transform into something bigger and better. Crafting has you exile the artifact along with other permanents that really could be anything in order to transform the card into either a creature or another artifact. Since we can exile cards from our graveyard with the craft mechanic, card draw and mill are equally beneficial to us. And what better way to filter out cards than comboing this with Explore? Getting lands to your hand and cards into the yard will speed this deck along. With this, we can sprinkle in some Descent cards as cards are entering the yard, and it would combo very well with Descended type mechanics, netting us possibly even some tokens that are going to be some block fodder for us. We're going looking for the One Piece as we explore into unknown territories. When a creature explores, look at the top card of your library. Lands go to your hand. Otherwise, the card can go into the yard or back on top. On top of that, your creature gets a +1/+1 counter. Explore is going to be a very strong mechanic in the set because it enables a lot of the other mechanics to do what they want to do. It offers ramp in both power and mana. On top of that, it allows you to put cards into your yard for Descent or filter out lands into your hand so you never miss a land drop, or you can even set up for a really big Discover hit. It's going to really shine, and it's going to probably pop up in most builds, so do not frown upon this and be ready for it. It's all or nothing now. Finality counters bring a creature back from the dead, but with a risk. If that creature were to die, it would be exiled instead. This mechanic is very much a support mechanic in this limited format, as there just isn't enough finality counter-oriented cards to really build out a deck. I would recommend comboing this with any graveyard type strategy. Building a deck on the spot can be daunting, especially if this is your first time attending a pre-release, so here are some tips from me. Open all of your packs and sort them into colors. Don't even read them. Everything just goes into a pile. Now, why do you want to do this? Well, this gives you a visual representation of the number of cards you have in each color. From there, I start with the bigger piles to see what mechanics I have in each color, and I work my way down from there. The reason why I start with the bigger piles is because they are more likely to have repeats and more synergies. Multicolor spells are the last thing I look at, since they will be the least in number, and frankly, while they might be powerful, it's going to be one or two of your 24. Now it's time to pick. Pick the mechanics that synergize the best and that you have the most of. The last thing you want to do is be adding cards from outside of your synergy, as this would dilute your access to your main win con. This leads us to quantities. The optimal number is 24 non-land cards with 16 land cards. This is hailed as the golden ratio for sealed events. Now it's time to start building. Start pulling all of the cards that fit into the colors and the synergies that you want to, and look through them and watch out for these main sections. Removal. Keeping your opponent's board clear is a great way to keep them on their heels. A big note for Ixalan. Watch out for ways to remove the gods. And this is pretty much just exile. So any exiling effect is going to be your best bet, because they will just flip-flop like a Magikarp. So this is our only choice. Card draw. This is a big advantage. The more cards you have access to equals more answers that you're going to be able to put out into the board, or just bigger and badder creatures that your opponents are going to want to take. Mana ramp. Ways to get mana advantage. This means mana rocks, land searches, and other mechanics. More notably in Ixalan, explore. Just getting lands into your hand can never. Bombs. These are big, bad creatures that can really turn the tide of the game. Especially in limited formats, dropping a 6/6 flyer can really change the game and put your opponent in a really bad. If you have cards that are very situationally based, be sure to keep them nearby, because you never know if you're actually going to need them. For example, if it's a very niche exile type effect and you're playing against an opponent that has a god, you might want to swap in another card for that exile, because you don't want that god on the battlefield for too long, because it's going to be the end of the game. From here, it's a matter of putting it all together. I tend to aim for 14 to 16 creatures initially, and 8 to 10 non-creature, non-land cards with 16.
And that is all, folks. And I really hope that this video has helped you, so you feel confident walking into your LGS this weekend and playing some games and winning some matches, because this set is an absolute blast, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, and I might get a sneak peek for a set box, so stay tuned. It's coming out soon. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.